piece with a strong impression of good quality writing and what you had to say, what they learned from reading it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. No word count or anything. Let's aim for like 10, 12 minutes. It's pretty simple, but just make sure that you're using all that time for writing. As long as you're using the entire time for writing, I don't mind if we take a little bit longer because you really want to produce something that's good quality. But I will call you out if you take 15 minutes to write, 5 kind of cruddy sentences, okay? So really try to elevate the quality of your writing every time you write. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and start to review when we get them. Okay, so we've got to wrap up that writing task. Thank you, Jasmine. Daniel and Ryan, you should be done as well. Nathan, you are just writing a really short version of this. If that ever happens and you come in late, you just do what's on the screen, but just assume that you have less time to write, so write something shorter. Aim for something shorter. That's totally okay. Guess who learned how to properly dice onions this past year? Good. Even though it's a rhetorical question, Jasmine, it should still end in a question mark. If you don't know what a rhetorical question is, everyone, it's just a question that you don't expect an answer to, which, of course, when you're writing, you don't expect anyone to answer you. So it's pretty much always a rhetorical question. So rhetorical questions. I guess that maybe Grammarly was thinking of it as an expression, like guess who? And I suppose it probably is getting there, but like technically it's still a question. It's not really a big deal, but if we're technical about it. Also because you give an answer, right? You pose a rhetorical question and then you answer it. So that even further shows that you should really end it in a question mark. Because if it's an exclamation, what are you answering, right? But that's what we always say, right? We have to keep in mind that AI is not always right. You'll see in Google Slides that it highlights things all the time that we'll look at its correction and it won't be right, right? Because it cannot understand what we're trying to express like a person can, right? Sometimes it's wrong because it cannot read what is meant by the sentence. Like it doesn't understand. It can give you grammar rules, and Grammarly is like the best of the best. Like it's better than your traditional spell checker, but it still cannot understand like you would proofreading your work, proofreading your peers' work, or like I would, right? It also can't really give you advice on like content itself. It's not going to say, oh, it looks like you need an example here, or is this the best example to showcase what you're trying to say, right? So don't become too reliant on it. You know what I did learn though? That's also a rhetorical question ending in a question mark. How to not cry whilst cutting onions. Fear me and my magical eyes and their amazing sidekicks. Sunglasses. It sounds a little bit dangerous. Hopefully they're not too dark of sunglasses, but that's a good idea. It never did click with me until last year that onions don't just hold some mystical power over my eyes. They release a compound that makes me tear up, of course. Speaking of tears, I also learned that I have a whole slew of health issues. Oh, well, that's not good. Migraines, chronic low blood pressure, and a severe allergy to certain scents. And you know what's sad? Again, rhetorical question, question mark. It's not even the type of allergy where I can get excused from school when it happens because, Nathan, you're just writing about how you got wiser in 2023. That's the prompt. How did you get wiser in 2023? So stay on that topic. Where I can get excused from school when it happens because it's just super bad headaches and dizziness. So I can only sit at my desk and cry in my head while I try to explain why the answer is 3 and not 8. But you know what I did learn? That I don't have to be upset alone. Perhaps it's because this year all my friends are in my classes, or just because I never had these headaches before. But now I have people who shush their classmates when they see my head. Oh, that's so nice. Very considerate. Friends who carry herbal scents that don't annoy me to spray the moment they smell that sickly, sweet smell I can't stand. And I suppose I too, it's funny how we do that sometimes, right? Because of course you know that it's not the right two. Yeah, this is only ever the number. I too have learned that it's okay to ask them for help. It's always okay to ask for help. And if I have learned only one lesson from last year, then it is that. Whether it's asking a teacher if I can leave the room for a few minutes or begging my grandmother to help me cut the onions because I accidentally rubbed my oniony hands all over my eyes, I've learned that I don't stand alone in this world. There are a lot of people that care about me and my magical semi-onion repellent eyes. You actually should put the semi in front of repellent. That's what you're saying they somewhat do. You're not saying your eyes are somewhat onion. So we'll move that. Or you know what we could do that would make it make sense? You are saying onion repellent. So what we should do technically is actually put a hyphen so that you're saying they're somewhat onion repellent. That's what would make it make the most sense, actually. So semi-onion repellent. Very good. I think that the ending is really beautiful, Jasmine. No man is an island, if you've heard that really famous expression. And asking for help is one of the most important things that you can do. You're not going to get anywhere without it. You're not. You need to. I would say I would appreciate if there was a little bit more of a thread between that lesson and the rest of the writing. I think that you spend a little bit too much time maybe describing how you feel without it really being connected to what you're trying to say. So I can only sit at my desk and cry in my head while I try to explain why the answer is 3 and not 8. That kind of line is sort of not helping with the idea of others helping you. I'm gonna have to pause for a lot of maybe water today. I am sick, so sorry if I sound nasally and if I have to pause because my throat, but we're gonna power through.